The Diddy case, in terms of the legal analysis and analyses, is the worst I've ever seen ever. It has nothing to do with the trial. It has nothing to do with what is going on in the courtroom. It is being posited and advanced by a bunch of people who have apparently don't know anything about this, up to and including Mark Garagos, Harvey Levin, TMZ, everyone. Because there are two parts of the case. What goes on in the real world of Diddy and, those people in the world of rap or whatever it is. There's that part. But then there's another part, and that's what's going on in the courtroom. Now, the courtroom is what's the most important, but it's not being discussed. It is not being discussed because that's not interesting to people. It doesn't play. It's not worthwhile. It's not doing anything. You see, that's not interesting, but it is interesting. Because there's something which you have to understand more than anything else. In fact, in real life, when you are dealing with something, when you're dealing with a case, you've got to stick to the facts of the case and not talk about other things which you want to bring up to either taint the jury or when you just run out of things to say. Have you ever been in an argument with somebody who doesn't understand what the argument's about, or who just wants to get mad, or just hates you, or just hates you and wants to bring up something that they're upset about, but it has nothing to do with what you're talking about. It's irrelevant. There's no basis. That's what this case is. That's what this case is. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. And even during OJ, when OJ was big, they talked about the case. They talked about what Henry Lee did, what Barry Scheck testified to, Dennis Fung, the criminalist. They didn't talk about OJ's professional football career or whether he was a jerk or Paula Barbieri. They only talked about it in terms of maybe explaining a little bit about motivation, but they were really very good at talking about and reviewing what's going on in the case before this. I'm going to be asking that you subscribe to my newsletter. It is coming up right now. The newsletter right here. I've got a very good piece coming up on Derek Chauvin, or Chauvin. I give it to Chauvin. This is the police officer who was convicted of murdering that thug and criminal waste of flesh, George Floyd. I'm telling you why he deserves a pardon federal. It won't affect him at the state level, but it might set the impetus of such. So in any event, we're going to be talking about what's going on today. And I'm going to give you I was on yesterday with Redacted, with Natalie and Clayton about that, and others as well. And I think people really appreciate what I'm saying because what I'm saying is correct. I don't like him, but they're not talking about the facts of the case. They're talking about, they're confusing People Magazine or TMZ or Perez Hilton or Harvey Levin or whatever with what's going on in the courtroom. 3 things he's charged with. Violation of the Mann Act, that's White Slavery Act from 1910. They've got Chuck Berry and Jack Johnson and R. Kelly on that, believe it or not. That's one. Number 2 is sex trafficking, which I still don't know where that one comes in. And number 3 is criminal conspiracy, or rather racketeering conspiracy. So think about this very carefully. But before we begin, my friends, I want you to think about something. The Democrats and the liberals or whatever are losing drastically. And because they're losing drastically, they don't know what to do. Don't be surprised if they pull something. Don't be surprised if they pull a fast one. Don't be surprised if they do something to affect, perhaps, supply chain, labor strikes, food, internal disruption. You think I'm kidding? Listen to me very carefully and listen to the word of our critical sponsor. Let me ask you a question. What happens when the trucks stop? Think about this. Trucks, the trucks that bring your food. And then when one store closes because of a riot or ransomware hit or a hurricane or even manufactured weather. Oh, yeah, we've talked about that. What happens when all of a sudden, suddenly, the entire supply chain collapses like dominoes? What happens then? We've seen it happen, and it doesn't take much. And that's the thing you've got to think about. A trucker strike, a cyber attack, some EMP, some Carrington class disaster, a city shut down by violence. It only takes one spark for shelves to go empty fast. And when that happens, and when that moment hits, you either have what you need or you don't. And that's why I am telling you, I want you to go to preparewithlionel.com. Our trusted friends at My Patriot Supply, they're offering unbelievable deals right now. You've got to see deals on emergency food kits that could save your life and your sanity. Over 2,000 calories per day for 3 months of food per person, shelf stable for 25 years in any kind of combinations you want, and made to taste like actual meals, not cardboard, not some military MRE. These kits aren't just insurance, they're peace of mind. So go to preparewithlionel.com, secure your kit, secure your future. Preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com, because when the world breaks down, the prepared don't panic. All right, my friends. By the way, a nice special word from Sarah. By the way, Sarah Waite says, hi, Lionel. New watcher from the UK. Saw your analysis of Diddy on Redacted, and as much as I don't like him, I think you're spot on. Love the energy you bring to the discussion. Well, thank you. You do know that liking somebody, for example, Pilgrim gifted 5 Lionel Nation memberships. Thank you, Pilgrim, so much. It's very, very kind of you, dear friend. Pilgrim, by the way, coming from Upper Crust, North Tampa. North of Waters is all Carrollwood, in any event. Thank you for that. Liking has something to do with it. I don't even know what that means. Do you like President Trump? Do you not like Keir Starmer? Do you not? What does that mean? I don't know. I've met President Trump. I like him. I like him. I do. I think I do. I don't know him. It's nothing to do with it. Loved his brother. Absolutely loved Robert Trump. He was one of the best people I've ever known in my life, and I miss him terribly. But I don't know. I don't know. Liking has nothing to do with it. I really don't know. This piece, please subscribe. Derek Chauvin. By the way, Chauvin, was the putatively real officer or soldier during Napoleon's time. And it became a word of chauvinism. It became synonymous with aggressive, hyper-aggressive, militaristic, whatever it was. So I don't know. Do you like Charles Manson? Not really. I don't think so. I don't think he killed anybody. So liking has nothing to do with it. The people they do like, I think, sometimes commit terrible things. I think. Do you like Julian Assange? I don't know. I think he should be given a part. So while remember, and it's important that you do mention this, and I appreciate it. Liking has something to do with it. Liking has something to do with it. I will tell you exactly what it is and give you an idea of what happens in the courtroom. And I want you to imagine this. This might be the best part. Very, very simply put. Imagine if we have, by the way, our dear friend, our new best friend. By the way, welcome her. Everybody say hello to our friend from the UK. We love this. We love our UK friends. But imagine Sarah. There's Miss Sarah. Sarah, smile. Let's say, Sarah, you were driving in the United States and you were charged with speeding. Speeding. Going over 55 miles per hour or whatever it is. And you say, I'm going to go to court on this one. I don't think I was going 55, so you show up. And what do? They put on evidence that you were drinking. And they have a receipt from you had been to a pub, and they happened this, and they have the waiter who served you. I said, yes. Sarah had about 9 gin and tonics, and you think, excuse me, what does this have to do with speeding? Then we put in your employment records where you have been fired a number of occasions for being drunk on what? Then you have ex-boyfriends and ex-husbands who say that you are a brute and violent, and you're thinking, wait a minute, I'm hearing a speeding case. What are you talking about? Oh, I never knew Sarah was that way. Excuse me. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying it's irrelevant. What does this have to do? Then next thing you know, TMZ picks it up. Sarah on trial. The drunken, I'm just kidding, but I mean the violent Sarah on trial. UK's terror invades it. It's like, wait a minute. That's what we're talking about with what does Cassie have to do with anything? What does any of this have to do with any of this? I mean, this is the most incredible thing. So you can provide the latest, the most salacious, the most interesting developments. And as of today, the ongoing saga, of course, continues regarding him. And I want you to notice something. I want to ask you a very simple question right now. In the simplest of terms, look at this Sarah. See how one over there? Look at this Sarah. See, Sarah gets some crumb cake. See, we're Lionel Nation, Sarah. We're not like usual people. We got Raul Rodriguez. Raul, by the way, loves, just so that you knew, Raul loves, I told you, a great movie is this. Raul, 0 Day makes a strong case that the enemy of the U.S. is not an external entity, but a homegrown mechanism to have absolute control. Absolutely. 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 Today is one of the most important, by the way, parenthetically, today is the most important day where we're going to put an end to this ridiculous fight that is going on in the UK. Mr. Putin has said, I'm not going to show up. Why? Well, Trump said, I may show up. He's like, no, I'm not going to show up unless you show up. But that is a ridiculous story that's going on. And of course, it's not being covered in terms of what's critical. So, but aside from all this stuff, the real players involved have really nothing to do with it. The people, Sarah, in my country, that I fear are not Israel, Belarus, France. No, it's not President Trump. It's not the federal government. It's the shadow government. It's the shadow government. Do you hear what I'm saying? Have you ever had something in your system go, for example, you have a little case of eczema and you need an anti-inflammatory. There's something within you that is going wrong. It's like what is affecting you isn't really something external, it's internal. You might have some kind of a weird antagonistic thing. It might be something involving your inability to fight off disease. But anyway, it's internal. It's not, nobody's coming in and bothering you. That's the way I am. My government, the government that has always been up till now, I think, and in many respects are still there. My government is really the bad guy. But enough about me. Pilgrim says, Pilgrim says, I've been listening to you and Mr. Cumia on WABC. Yes. Anthony Cumia is one of the best, a dear friend of mine, and an absolute genius. He doesn't know it. He doesn't know it. He's so used to these other folks. In any event, dear friends. So let's talk about what's going on. The ongoing legal saga of Mr. Combs has, of course, dominated headlines, but not because of the courtroom, but from new revelations emerging from his high-profile trial, but also the witnesses and what people are saying about it. Now, the story is unfolding, paint a picture, a very complex picture of this hip-hop mogul. He is a mogul, at least, and now they're going to call him a disgraced mogul. I don't know if he's hit disgraced yet. That may apply. He might hit disgraced. And when you hit disgraced, it's all over. When you hit disgraced, you can just say goodbye, because you're into that. Like Harvey Weinstein disgraced. Anthony Weiner, disgraced congressman, disgraced. It's like Panamanian strongman, Ugandan strongman, Idi Amin Dada, you're a strongman, disgrace, you know what it is. In any event, as far as Mr. Combs goes, he's a very he was once celebrated. He was a cultural icon. I mean, he really was. Now he's facing, they're ruining him. Criminal charges, civil lawsuits that threaten to not only dismantle him, but his legacy. And don't think that doesn't mean something. And you got to ask the question, the subsidiary question of why they want to do this. I don't know why. I can't answer that, but who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. So looking at the various news stories, we're going to delve into three aspects of the latest narrative involving Mr. Diddy, the latest developments in his trial and lawsuits, the more salacious allegations that have gripped public attention, and the most interesting elements that reveal the broader, implications of the case. And my analysis today, dear friends, I hope, will give you the time for me to examine the establishment narrative. We'll talk about inconsistencies, explore the societal context, and also remind you of that which is charged. Remember, Mann Act, white trafficking, 1910 statute, bringing women usually, it's white slavery, they call it, across state lines for the purposes of prostitution and the like. Exploring the societal context surrounding these. Now, the latest. The most recent updates in Diddy's legal battle stem from his federal trial and the new civil lawsuit filed against him. Yesterday, Cassie Ventura, his ex-girlfriend, and the prosecution's star witness. Why? I have no idea. Let me stop. Please, you'll understand, and this is what I want you to do, and when I was on with my dear friends, Natalie and Clayton yesterday on Redacted, always ask this question. What does this have to do with the Mann Act, white slavery? I love that term, white slavery. What does this have to do with sex trafficking? And what does this have to do with racketeering conspiracy? Where is this racketeering enterprise? I know he beat her up, and it's wrong, but that's not what he's charged with. Where are the other three? Okay. Now, she concluded her direct examination. And now, cross-examination comes. Cross-examination. What's cross-examination? This is the best. What is the main element of direct examination that makes it so interesting? Why is it so important? Why is it so critical? Simple. You are interrogating your witness. The witness you picked. The witness you selected. The witness you wanted. What's so special about direct examination? The type of questions you can ask. Non-leading questions. What is a leading question? A leading question is technically a question that in essence focuses, if you will, on the answer at once. You are soul says, government control the myth, Latin, paramount, French speak lies. Latin, paramount. Okay, very good. I thank you for that, sir. Thank you. I must be reading it incorrectly. Direct examination. Who, what, when, where, why. This is my witness. You may ask your witness any question. No leading questions. What's a leading question? Isn't it a fact you've never been to London? Isn't it a fact you don't own any stock in Apple? Isn't it true that you've never been to Guam? Isn't it true that you often go to bed without saying goodbye? Isn't it? Would I not be correct if yes, no? So you didn't go there, did you? And you didn't do this, did you? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes. That's a leading question. And if you want to hear the greatest, go back and remember this name, Irving Younger. Let me give you this name. Remember this name, Irving Younger. Irving Younger was the greatest. I used to watch his videos before we had YouTube. I used to have to go into the law library and see old films of it. His CLA, his continuing legal education, his stories, his lectures on cross-examination are the best. And the first rule is only ask a leading question. Number 2, it's their witness. Keep them off the stand. Why are you asking them a question? I was famous for never asking a question. Never. Why do you want to ask? Okay, Cassie, you might. But if you really ask and say, do you really want to ask them a question? They're the other side's witness. Get them off. Not that way, but I mean, have them sit down. Don't have anybody listen to them. Don't risk Cassie crying, this pregnant woman crying. When you ask a question, you come off like a jerk and you're saying, well, what did you accomplish? Well, I have to ask her a question. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have to ask her a question at all. Why are you asking her a question for? Why? She's their witness. They're not going to help you. People feel like they got to ask a question. One time, a little side story. When I was brand new. And they put you like in traffic court. We're saying, okay, but still some good stuff. DUIs. You learn a lot of trial stuff. And one time I got up and I was going to ask this cop, I don't know what it was. It was cross-examination. Why? I think it was a cop. Well, if it's cross-examination, it's got to be the other side. Anyway, I got up and I said, so, you say the light was yellow, right? And just then, my mind went blank. I don't know where the hell I was. And I'm wondering, what the hell did I have to do with it? Why did I ask that question? Well, because, I mean, when you're really up there, it's like, damn, I'm in court. And I'm asking a question. This is great. Now, what the hell was that question? And why am I asking that question? So the cop said, yeah. And I said, that's what I thought you'd say. And I sat down. And people are wondering, what the hell was that all about? The guy who was second chairing me, my senior prosecutor, he'd been there a couple of weeks, longer than I have. He said, what was that about? I said, I have no idea. Don't ask me. Sometimes people just have to ask a question. Or they'll repeat. So, Ms. Ventura, you say that Diddy beat you? Yes. And you say that he punched you? Yes. And you say that he kicked you? Yes. And you say that he broke? Yes. And you say you had to go to the emergency room? Yes. And this is you here in this video, is it not? Yes. Why am I doing this? Why am I showing him again what he did? Get her off. Sit down. Sit down. Do you really want to ask her? What do you want to ask her? Did you sue him? Yeah, I sued him. Did you get $20 million? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Did you ever meet Roy Cohn? By the way, thank you for spelling Roy Cohn. They always say Roy Cohen. You ever meet him? No, I did not. But I did know Arnold Levine, one of the best in Tampa at the time. I know Ron Cacciatore. Yeah. Remember Barry Cohen? Yeah. In any event, dear friend, in any event. So what are you going to ask her? What's the cross-examination of her? I don't know. Sit down. How important is CCA and 403 to the defendant? CCA I don't understand, Raul, but 403... Well, not Section 403. Federal Rule of Evidence 403 is the most important. Absolutely. CCA. I don't know what CCA is, but 403, we've talked about that. That is the rule that says that evidence, which may be probative in value, which may be effective, is so detrimental. And so I say, why are you putting this, Your Honor? Why are you having Cassie on? This might be good. Ms. Ventura, yeah. You don't have any evidence here regarding women brought into, and let's go back and look at that, crossing state lines for the purposes of prostitution. Do we? No. You don't have any evidence about that, do you? Is there anything in that video? No? Okay. Number two, you don't have any evidence about him through force, fraud, or coercion, trafficking in other people? Do you? No. And thirdly, you don't have any evidence regarding a racketeering enterprise or the conspiracy to it. No. Do you? No. Just as I thought. Have a nice day. That's it. That's all you should do. Sit down. Get her off. I don't want him to. I don't want to. Every witness. May it please the court, Your Honor. I know this is getting redundant. Witness number 3. You don't have any evidence of him involving white slavery, do you? No. You don't have any evidence or know anything about him involving a racketeering enterprise, do you? No. You don't have any evidence of him involved in human trafficking, force, fraud, coercion? No. They even brought up, I think, arson or something in one of the... Nothing. Each person. And after, the jury's going to say, wow, sit down. That's it. I don't have to prove anything. And I sure as hell am not going to put somebody on the stand and bring up what they said and make sure you understand and maybe like them and maybe feel like, wow, they're really not that bad. That's interesting. I don't understand it. I do not understand. What does she have to do with anything? So she reveals for the first time that she settled her 2023 lawsuit, $20 million, a figure, by the way, that had previously been undisclosed, $20 million. And this settlement, it turns out, came just 24 hours after Ventura filed her lawsuit, which accused Diddy of, I can't say the R word because of YouTube sensibilities, but the R word, physical abuse, and coercing her into acts known as freak-offs over the decade-long relationship. Now, the $20 million figure has sparked debate, with Diddy's team suggesting that her allegations were motivated by financial gain, a claim the prosecutors countered by highlighting the settlement during her testimony to preempt attacks on her credibility. And that's what they're saying. Now, her testimony also has been emotionally charged, they're saying. It's detailed years of abuse, including a 2018 R, that's the R word, allegedly in her Los Angeles home after their breakup. She described how Diddy orchestrated freak-offs, these marathon sessions involving multiple sex workers fueled by drugs like ketamine, which Cassie said she used to dissociate from the experiences. She also alleged that Diddy blackmailed her with compromising videos, threatened violence against her, including rapper Kid Cudi or Cutie C-U-D-I, whose car allegedly exploded in his driveway in 2012 after Diddy learned of their relationship. And these allegations apparently tend to align with the broader narrative of control and coercion that prosecutors are using the case to build against Diddy, who faces charges of, sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation, to engage in prostitution. Okay? Now let me ask you a question. Have any of you ever been in terrible relationships? Mm-hmm. Any of you? Mm-hmm. You ever hear of revenge porn? You ever hear of that? Did they ever charge the people with trafficking? No. You ever hear about orgies? And Do you ever hear about people in the rock business doing that? Do you ever hear about people like the Stones, maybe, or who could be it? I don't know, the Beatles, the Who, Led Zeppelin. Yeah. Ever hear the plastic? Yeah. You ever hear about that? That's not trafficking. Yeah. They're not charging Diddy with drug use. They're not charging him with ketamine. They're not charging him with anything. They're not charging him with being a dick, about being a horrible person. Nothing. This is what I'm telling the closing argument. What are we talking about? If this is against the law, half of New York better run for the hills. What are we talking about here? They're trying their best to confuse you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. They're throwing everything at you. Remember our friend Sarah from the UK? They got her for a traffic ticket, a speeding ticket. Remember when they went to traffic court? They're bringing up her relationships, the fact that she's been treated. What does it have to do with anything? They want this case, and they're hoping above all that you're unable to differentiate the two. They're hoping above all that you're unable to deal with this, that you're unable to differentiate. We're counting on you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, as of today, there's a new civil lawsuit was filed against Diddy. Why not? Adding another layer to his legal woes. An unnamed woman, of course, identified as Jane Doe. Let me see, what rhymes with Doe? Doe, row, ho, show, mo. Anyway, this Jane Doe accused Diddy of the letter R, R-ing her in 2004. 21 years ago in a Manhattan hotel after a promotional event for his Sean John clothing line. See, she claims she met Diddy at a photo shoot where he invited her to an after party at the hotel. According to the lawsuit, Diddy then offered her a drink that made her feel woozy. You notice how President Trump didn't take any water in Saudi Arabia? Anyway, after which he allegedly forced her into a bedroom, pinned her down, and then, you know what, a court despite her protest. She alleges she attempted to report the incident to the NYPD, but was dismissed due to his celebrity status. A claim that raises questions, of course, about systemic failures in handling these assault allegations against powerful figures, which, by the way, is a separate and very critical issue. Absolutely. Because remember, I'm not after these people. Or excuse me, let me try this again. I'm not against going after these people. I have no problem with that. Give me a case where that's the truth and go after them. But that's not what, because in federal court, there's no such thing as that. See, in federal court, there's no homicide case per se. There's no murder statute per se. Federal court is different. It's a different animal. It's a different story. It's a different everything. They have things like violations of civil rights, and that kind of thing. So this lawsuit filed under New York's Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act, which allows survivors to sue irrespective of when the incident occurred, is one of over 70 sexual assault lawsuits he's faced since the 2023 filing. 70. And these new developments, of course, underscore the gravity of Diddy's situation. You see, the trial, now in its fourth day, is expected to last about, 2 months, with Cassie facing cross-examination today. Today's going to be critical. Today's going to be the most critical. It's critical. Now, the new lawsuit, combined with the ongoing trial, suggests that Diddy's legal battles are far from over. And the public scrutiny continues to intensify. Well, there's no doubt about that. Now, the latest, did you hear about the Tootsie Roll? Did you hear about this one? A Tootsie Roll comparison and a sex worker gallery. That's what it is. Among the most salacious and perhaps irrelevant, but admittedly funny details to emerge from Diddy's legal troubles are the graphic allegations in Jane Doe's lawsuit and what appears to be a provocative photo gallery published by TMZ yesterday, purportedly showing sex workers linked to Diddy's freak-offs. And these elements have captured public fascination, as you can imagine, fueling, of course, tabloid coverage and interest and the social media buzz. Now, in the new lawsuit filed today, matter of fact, Jane Doe's description of the alleged 2004 assault includes a striking and unusual detail. Please. She describes Diddy's accoutrement as, quote, a large Tootsie Roll. This is from today's New York Post. I'm sorry. She claims that after Diddy had forced her into a bedroom at the Manhattan Hotel, he removed his jogging suit, pinned her to the bed, and then, well, as you can imagine, all while she screamed for help. Now, the Tootsie Roll comparison, while seemingly trivial in the context of such a serious allegation, has drawn significant attention due to its, dare I say, vivid and somewhat unconventional nature. Now, this detail risks overshadowing the gravity of Doe's claims, which include physical injuries. She alleges she was left bloody and limping, very serious, and emotional trauma that led her to abandon her modeling career. The comparisons also raise questions about the framing of the assault allegations in legal documents and media coverage. Now remember, that is over here. That she is able to and has a right to pursue civilly. What that has to do with this case, I don't think it's going to apply because she's not on the witness list. It's new. Does this have to do with racketeering? No. With trafficking? No. Mayan Act? No. I'm not saying you shouldn't go after him at all. Bankrupt him. I don't care. But charge him with the right thing. You know, these details can, I hate to use the word sensationalize, but that's what it's called. You know, it deals with the narrative at the expense of a survivor's broader experience. You see, adding to this vivid nature, the salacious nature, the concupiscent nature of the Diddy story. TMZ, by the way, published, the gallery of these photos, claiming to depict sex workers who allegedly participated in this freak-offs. Now, the gallery, described as a collection of images tied to the trial, purportedly shows women involved in the drug-fueled sex parties that Ventura and other accusers have described. Now, while TMZ does not provide specific details about the provenance of the photos, where they got them, or the authenticity of the individuals, the publication of such a gallery has really sparked ethical debates. A lot of people are arguing that releasing of these images, even if anonymized, risks further exploiting the women involved, many of whom had been coerced and trafficked, according to the prosecution's own claims, and also denying him of a fair trial because it will seep in. Others see this gallery as a sensationalist, typical TMZ move to capitalize on the trial's notoriety. Of course it is. Don't pretend that they want to do anything but this. Okay? Don't pretend. This may seek to undermine the severity of this. And the freak-offs themselves have become kind of a focal point of the trial's more salacious narrative. Now, Cassie testified that these events, which Diddy allegedly orchestrated, involve multiple sex workers and could last for days, with participants often under the influence of drugs. She described suffering physical consequences, including sores in her tongue, frequent UTIs due to the intensity of these sessions, and the combination of explicit sexual content and drug use and the allegations of coercion has made the freak-offs kind of a tabloid darling. But it also highlights the darker, the underbelly, the sickness of Diddy's, not only his behavior, but his world, which are not subject to the charges. How he uses wealth, his power to manipulate and control, as is done all the time. Hugh Hefner. What do you think was done at the mansion? And these events, as salacious as they are, while attention-grabbing, risk, again, people suggest trivializing the systemic issues at play, such as the exploitation of sex workers. Exploitation of sex workers, which, by the way, the radical left want to legalize more of in order to, I don't know what. It shows the challenges that survivors face. And the Tootsie Roll comparison and all this, it may fuel, public curiosity and joking around and everything, but it also underscores the need for a more nuanced discussion about sexual violence. You see, let me explain this to you. I promise you, there is somebody watching us now and watching us later who herself, and perhaps himself, but who herself is a victim of sexual violence in the past and does not find any of this immediately funny because your case wasn't in the paper. And the most interesting aspects about this, the broader implications in societal context and all this other kind of jazz, behind the headlines, the details, it offers something really compelling and thought-provoking. Elements that really are interesting, revealing the broader significance, including the role of legal reforms, enabling survivors to come forward, okay? Which is a good thing, except some of these are 20, 30 years old. How do you defend yourself with a 30-year-old case? This isn't like cold case with murderers. This is different. There now, as they say, the intersectionality of celebrity culture and accountability, and the potential impact on the music industry's reckoning and addressing abuse. They knew about this. And one of the most interesting aspects of the case is the role of the New York's Adult Survivors Act and Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. Gender motivated. That's interesting. When a woman is attacked, was it her gender that motivated it? Was it the gender? When the R word is involved, is it because it is a woman, or is that merely the selection? Can you not have R without there being a man or a woman? So this is important. But here is what I want everybody to understand something. I want you to imagine this. I want you to imagine that we are sitting at a table in a wonderful Irish pub, and I have a box of shot glasses. They're empty. And I say, okay, here's one. I turn one over. This is the Diddy trial. Boom. This is the celebrity part. This is the music accountability, the reckoning of the music. This is this, this is this. Now, no matter how much you push, they cannot blend together. They're separate. They are separate and distinct. Raul says, should people document their sexual escapades? Not if you're a defendant, but if you are a victim. If you're a victim. Now let me explain something to you. I don't want to be gross. And you got to be very careful with this. But let me ask you something. When you walk into a room, how many people do you believe did not know what was going on in the Diddy parties? Do you think there were a lot of people? No, they knew. Do you think that what you say, hey, did you hear about these Diddy parties? They go 2, 3, 4 days. I didn't know that. I thought I was going just to pursue my modeling career. No. Next question. Could any of these people have left? Yes. And when you are involved in marathon activities of this type, do you think UTIs and various genital trauma can be a part of that? Yes. Do you ask yourself, are you there? Do you know this? Is this something that you actively involve yourself in? Do you think that you have the possibility of knowing this? Do you bear any responsibility, any form of assumption of risk. Anything? It was a party. It was a romp. When you went to remember Hef's party in the grotto, when people like James Caan and Bill Cosby and all these people were there? Do you know that in the 60s, it was considered part and parcel to slip a woman a Mickey Finn, a Mickey, before roofies and Rohypnol and GHB? It was a part of it. Did you know that? So, do you know? Why did you go? Why? Karen Peterson writes, morals are gone and blurred lines on gender issues, so society can become overtaken by the globalist crowd. Baphomet is their god. With all due respect, dear Karen, Baphomet or Baphomet has nothing to do with this. This is not about the globalists. This has been going on since the beginning of time. Don't expand it and make it too complicated. Diddy is not a part of the Illuminati, nor is Jay-Z or Lady Gaga or anything like that. I know we get into, Podesta, Abramovich, spirit cooking, all that. Let's don't make it, it's very complicated. You have people who live a lifestyle that has been around forever. There are half-assed wannabe. Do you remember the Bangles? Remember that? Remember the Bangles? Yeah. Want to hear about their parties? How about the Go-Go's? Want to hear about those? Those are chick bands. You want to hear about Lita Ford? You want to hear about Shall We Go On? I mean, this is Joan Jett. These are women too. Do you want to talk about all of the hair bands? Van Halen? Is this Baphomet? No. Is this the Illuminati? No. It's a bunch of people. Country music? Oh, dear God. Don't complicate things. Don't complicate things. If you want to go after trafficking, stick with Mrs. Eld and her colleagues and talk about CPS, Catholic Charities, a variety of other groups of unaccompanied minors. You want to go after trafficking? I'll show you trafficking. You want to go Mann Act? I'll show you where they are. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But that's not interesting enough. And do you know where most trafficking is? Labor. Labor. Let me explain something to you. Labor. If I'm going to go into something, me, I don't want to go into sex trafficking. I'm reasonable. I'm saying I don't want to get into that. Labor trafficking? Oh, shit. Come on. Remember all these nannies that are undocumented? Labor. It's not trafficking. Let me tell you what happens. Typical case, one I know of. A woman comes to this country, this is true, from some country, Indonesia, who knows. And she comes to New York, and she wants to get into the financial services. So what does she do? She shows up, and the first thing they do is they take her passport, and they tell her, if you say anything, we will have you, because you are nothing. You don't exist here. We run, and they come from corrupt countries. We run the countries. We run it. We run what's going on. Do you live in a city? Have you ever seen these Central and South American women with kids on their backs, and they're on the West Side Highway, where I take you on many of our tours? On the West Side Highway, you'll see women who are with babies, and it's horrible. And they're selling cut up pieces of, guava or watermelon or bottles of water, and they go churros, and they're walking out into West Side Highway. This is this huge with the baby. You think they're doing this for fun? That seems mild, though. The women who work for, if I went into the women who were involved in right now here in New York, Loads. Do you have nail salons in yours? Nail salons? Oh, remember when that guy Kraft from the, they took care of that, but it was something, there were some suggestions that maybe you go into these nail places and listen, if you've got some woman who's, but that's not sexy. If I was a criminal, that's where I'd go. Because I would say, no, this is undocumented. Come on, everybody does this. Any of you do you have a Home Depot in your hometown? Do you ever see where you're looking for workers and you show up and these Mexicans are standing around? You ever see that? See them all the time. All the time. They're working on Sundays. And where do you get these people? All the lawn care and oh, please. That's where huge money. Huge. So don't give me this stuff about that. And please, I want you to listen to me. The number of people that are not Satanists, Luciferians, not Democrats, they're not doing this because we took prayer out of the school. Don't compliment it. I mean, no, excuse me, don't complicate compliment. Don't complicate it. Things are very, very, very simple. Very simple. When you just have groups of people, when you have people in the music industry, let me tell you something, not very smart, not necessarily geniuses. And do you want me to go into detail about the hip hop in particular? You want me to go into detail? I can't say it. Where do you think we're getting hip hop stars from? Where do you think we're getting them from? Where? Universities? Boardrooms? Where? Country clubs? Where do we get most of these folks from? Where? We're into a group right now. Just spend any amount of time and look at the amount of this. I don't know what it is. Is it dark woke? Did you see that picture going around it was a graduation of these girls breaking out into this wild dancing? Okay. So I take these people from broken homes, or not broken homes, but just, and all of a sudden I handle somebody with a 30 IQ who has some minimal talent to rhyme or to whatever it is. And I hand them $1 million. And they're wearing $1 million in platinum around their neck. And they want to see, well, where do I go next? What do I do next? How do I appreciate and facilitate and expand upon my wealth? I know what I'll do. I'll do this. Hey, do you want to be a Diddy party? You damn right. Listen, young lady. There's a Diddy party. Freak off? Oh, you've heard about it? Of course I've heard about it. You know what's going to happen. There might be drugs there. I hope so. Well, you might go and you might have so many partners that you have, not only in terms of STDs, but the amount of actual external physical damage to your pudenda, STDs. I know. Urinary tract infection. I know. PPNG, urethritis. We haven't talked about the big A, because that's, Do you think everybody uses unprotected? Not only that, pictures, extortion. You understand this, right? I know. Diddy is not going and pulling people out of cars to go do this. You understand that, right? Yeah, I know that. You sure? Yes. How old are you? Most people are of age. Oh, there might be a minor here and there, but most people are of age. So you're willingly doing this. Yes. Okay. Have you talked to Diddy? No, I hope to meet him. Okay. Is Diddy organizing this? Organizing it? Do you mean like Hugh Hefner organized it? Out of the professional teams, there's about 3,000 professional baseball players, football players, and NBA. 3,000. Do you know the activities that go when you find out they're coming into, let's say, the intercontinental hotel here, and and you're looking at Diddy like he invented this. When you have the Met Gala, do you know what goes on there? There's that damn. In any event, my dear friends, I want to ask you a very simple, serious question. Always put things into perspective. Are you enjoying my treatises? Do you learn a lot from this? Please subscribe right now. It has it right there to my newsletter, the Lionel Nation letter. I've got one coming out about Derek Chauvin. You're going to love this. They're going to go crazy when they see this. President Trump should pardon or issue some kind of clemency. It's rather titular and theoretical because of the fact that it's not going, it's only for federal. He is in prison because of a state. You understand that? Karen says, I like this. You really surprise me at times, Uncle Lenny. Things are always simple and complicated at the same time. This what makes the whole thing so intriguing, that trafficking is just a part of it. Trafficking is a term, as you know, that is used, I think it's misleading. Do you know that there have been people who, if you have, in the state of Florida, 27 grams of cocaine in your pocket, that's possession. 28 grams is trafficking with a 3-year minimum mandatory. So what I'm saying is trafficking? That word is really, doesn't traffic sound like they're on cattle cars and flatbed trucks and they're chained? It's like the cry of freedom or something. That's not what it means. Force, fraud, or coercion. You're basically dealing in kind of a sexually conscripted innocence. It's a bad term. It indicates. But I thank you nonetheless for your comments. Thank you for this. You are incredibly important. So Pilgrim Media, thank you for the memberships. Raul, thank you. You are Soul. Thank you as well. And we will also, remember, make sure you were subscribed to Lionel Nation. Watch the piece I did with our good friend Sean Atwood, with Redacted yesterday. I've got more coming up with Eric Thaddeus Walters on the Pope. And I'm going to be coming up with some information also on our friend, Mr. Chauvin. July 19th at the Cutting Room in New York City, I'll be doing Back to the Stage with that. Tickets available. Go to lionelmedia.com. You can see that. And also, Saturday and Sunday mornings, overnights, 2 to 5 a.m. Now, everybody is up. I mean, people are, it's just, this is New York. I don't think anybody ever sleeps. It's the best time on WABC, 77 WABC, where I got my New York start. All right, my friends, have a great and glorious day. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. And until next time, which could be at any time, make sure, by the way, you ring, because I could do a live one any moment. Don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dad.